Good afternoon. Welcome to Evadyne with Company, talk worth listening to. I am here today on this first Monday with a family first event. We are going to be talking about health and wealth and the wellness in both. Because when it comes to family, both of those things are equally as important. Your health is your wealth, and your wealth can help you succeed. I am Evadyne. You are on the Grown Folk Talking Express Yourself Progressive Podcast Network. You can always call in to 520-525-8633. Listen to the entire show lineup and jump into any call, any program, any podcast for which the title interests you. You could also check Grown Folk Talking, Express Yourself on YouTube, and Grown Folk Talking, ExpressYourself.com to get the show lineup and to also view some of the past shows. My Gpage is networkingforsuccess.info, networkingforsuccess.info. And I really want you to either grab something to write with and make notes today, or to use another device and record what you're going to hear today. And I say that because there's going to be a lot of great information shared. I will share a company, Sissel, that manufactures high quality products that makes our life different. There are a lot of body disorders that are going to be and are being reordered with their products, and even choosing what you use around your home is very important, because remember, everything that goes on your skin goes into your body, goes into your bloodstream. So we want to be mindful about what we're touching. Now, this also goes with cosmetics and fragrances. Everything that goes on your skin goes into your body. But when you go to networkingforsuccess.info, my Gpage, you're going to see a lot of different options for you to choose from. One that I am most passionate about is the promo page, where you will see my 2 books, 2 more coming soon, but my 2 books on mental, mind, and overall health and wellness, motivation, inspiration, and empowerment. And I'll tell you now that in one day, the AM, and the second time in the PM, 2 different sources, 2 different people, I was compared to a pimp and to an angel with my writing. But I'll say most impressionably, I was compared to Bell Hooks by a 20-year-old about a year and a half ago, about 2 years ago. And I did not know Bell Hooks as a writer, Bellehehrs. But when I looked her up, I was honored. But when these 2 individuals compared me, one in the morning to a pimp and the other one in the afternoon to an angel, they both basically gave the same explanation. I was compared to a pimp by a former pimp, I believe, because he said, no, he may not have been, I'm just saying, but he said, in your writing, you are meeting people at the level they are, and then you're sharing information, you're enlightening them, you're passing on information in a way for them to clearly understand it, and then to see how it can benefit them. Now, of course, we know that could go with any product or service that you're you're sharing, but he took the way he was reading, the way that I was writing, as a positive, manipulative way of helping people get your message. And then the young lady in the afternoon, she explained that when she reads my book, it's like God sent. And that's why she said, you're like an angel. And so the books that they're referring to is Mind is to Mental, as Teeth are to Dental, and we all have a mind. That is the book. And you'll find that book on the networkingforsuccess.info, the promo page. You'll also find the travel sales site. Check that out. If you like traveling, want to travel, need to travel, and just don't mind doing it a little bit more often for less money, near and far, check out the travel page. There's an opportunity there where you can actually sign up for your own personal travel and shopping portal, and you can also sign up to share this opportunity with others. But I'm going to go back to Sizzle for a minute because that's what we're going to share with you now. Just a 7-minute introduction to their purpose and their standard of production. Thank you. And I will also say to you, if you have any questions or comments while you're watching this, possibly on YouTube or listening to it, you can call 347-649-7741, 24 hours a day. And you can also email teamfollowme@yahoo.com, and you can subject follow up to podcast. Thank you very much. I'm just sharing. That's what I do. Thank you.
Sizzle International is known around the world for producing the world's broadest range of healthy products, from nutritional supplements to personal care and cosmetics. Each of our vast array of products begins here, in Sizzle International's manufacturing facility. Let's go inside for a closer look. All Sizzle products begin as concepts submitted to our science and research department. Here, PhDs representing multiple scientific fields analyze the formulas for efficacy, production feasibility, and commercial value. Once a specific product formula has been successfully devised, our production process begins. This is our receiving area and the beginning of the process. It takes ideas and turns them into a reality. Every ingredient, container, and supplementary item required in the manufacture of Sizzle products initially comes here. All of our raw ingredients for production and packaging are inventoried and then placed in our quarantine area behind secure fencing. They are released to the production area only after passing our rigid inspection for quality, volume, and efficacy. Once they've passed our rigorous review, all of the items are then inventoried and shelved according to their content and purpose. This also allows us to maintain our Sizzle Safe philosophy by inspecting all ingredients to ensure that there are no potentially harmful ingredients contained therein. Our state-of-the-art inventory control system relies on intelligent forklifts to move and store our materials. Our electric forklifts are guided by electronic smart strips encased in the floor to locate and shelve their loads correctly. As they are stored, their barcodes are scanned and filed for inventory and control purposes. Unlike most manufacturers, Sizzle's modernistic production facility has the capability to manufacture a myriad of items, including personal care, powders, and liquids, comprising both non-food and food-grade products. Included in our manufacturing ability is our amazing infrared coffee roaster. High-grade Panamanian beans are first loaded into Sizzle's infrared coffee roaster that uniquely roasts beans in an incredibly short amount of time. This roasting method ensures all the coffee beans used in Sizzle's Cafe line of products retain their freshness and essential oils. This method of roasting is so revolutionary, less than 2% of the world's coffee roasters utilize the infrared process. From the roaster, the beans are then ground by our Fitz mill grinder, another innovative piece of equipment. To produce our powder-based products, like capsules and tablets, we start by transferring the inspected ingredients via our sterile pipeline system to one of our clean rooms located directly above our mixing rooms. There, after a final inspection, the raw ingredients are piped down to one of our V blenders that uniquely spin on their axes, guaranteeing an even and consistent blend of materials. The mixed product is then sent to one of our encapsulators, or is pressed into a tablet or pill for customer consumption. Sizzle products like Calcium K2, Supra Omega Plus, and TSX are all made this way. The process for our high viscosity liquid products like shampoos, conditioners, and lotions follow a similar procedure. The raw materials are inspected, then sent to a wet mixing room where giant mixers blend our unique ingredients. This is our truly state-of-the-art water purification system. Here, water is brought in and run through our carbon filtration system. Then it is passed through our reverse osmosis system 7 times. It then runs through UV filtration, and then we can mineralize or demineralize, oxygenate or deoxygenate, less or more alkaline. Our water filtration system is so advanced that several municipal water departments from around the country have come to study it for their own use. Our liquid nutritionals are mixed and batched in a separate room, where the wet material is combined and then sent to these massive blending silos in order to prepare the liquid ingredients to then be sent to our filling line. Our entire facility is based on a clean-in-place system, or CIP. This is to guard against cross-contamination. All delivery systems and both the wet and dry product lines are automatically sterilized between production runs. We call this process clean-in-place, and it is just one more procedure that ensures Sizzle's highest level of quality and value. Because of our incredibly high manufacturing standards, Sizzle's Production Center is a proud holder of both the GMP, Good Manufacturing Process Certification, and National Sanitation Compliance Board certification as an environmentally friendly manufacturer. Of all the high-tech equipment Sizzle uses in manufacturing, none is more unique or impressive than the proprietary machine Tom Maurer Sr. designed. This patented production process was developed after searching for years to find the technology necessary to extract the fucose molecule from frozen blocks of fucoidan. This is one of the 20 patents which allow Sizzle to manufacture our best-selling product, fucoidan. Tom Maurer spent millions of dollars to develop and design a machine that could do it in a cost-effective manner. It is the only one in existence and just one of the many reasons Sizzle is a leader in supplement manufacturing. As the bottles enter the liquid nutritional filling line, they first must be sterilized prior to filling. Then, the bottles are sent to the filling station, and once filled, they are capped and then sent to the chiller. The chiller allows us to bring temperatures down in order to maintain the biological efficacy of the product. Each individual product is weighed and examined for exact measurement and purity as it passes down the packaging line. The filled bottles are then sent to the shrink wrap station, which is comprised of a large steamer that seals and shrink wraps the labels on the product before it is sent through the X-ray to determine whether or not there are any anomalies in the bottle. The final step in Sizzle's manufacturing process is accomplished when the boxed product is placed on our palletizer, where it is wrapped and labeled for shipment. They are then shelved and ready for shipment to customers all around the world. We hope you've enjoyed this look behind the scenes at how Sizzle International proudly manufactures its products at our high-tech production plant. Because of our investment in the state-of-the-art facility, we remain the #1 supplement and personal care company in the world. It's just one more reason our customers and distributors are proud to be a part of the Sizzle family, the best in the business. Join us.
Thank you. So I just wanted to do what I do, which is share information. My name is Evadyne, and this is Evadyne with Company Talk worth listening to. Sharing Sizzle with you just through this video, sometimes we don't know how products are manufactured. And the one thing I heard about the company is that they're a manufacturing company and they manufacture many of the brands in the big box stores that we may purchase from. They manufacture their products, but to the standard that that big box company is asking. But with CISO, their high standard of manufacturing and the high quality of their products result in rewatering a lot of physical body disorders. So I looked up fucoidin, and many of you know their family, which is sea moss. Fucoidin is a brown seaweed full of vitamins and minerals. Because I know you may have heard, I have given you all that you need. I hear it's in Genesis, around 128-ish in that area. It's important that we realize we may be born in one part of the world and another part of the world has availability of many of the things that can help us remain healthy or get back on a good health track. So you can take a look at Sissel. You can go to SISEL.com/EVADYNE 96. The number's 96. And I do believe it's a .com, but I think it might be SESL.net. Forgive me. Yes. We are positioned on earth to help one another get to our next level. We are positioned to receive information that someone else may not receive and to do the best thing we could possibly do with it. I'm just double checking. I do believe it might be .net. SISEL.net /EVADYNE 96. That is. So again, this is Evadyne with Evadyne with Company. So the fucoidin, we hear about that. It has helped people. Well, again, it's the sea moss seaweed family. So if you have any familiarity with the power of sea moss, know that this product may be of good value. And we can get it from many different places. They actually have the purple sea moss, which is very high in nutritional products as well. But check out Sissel, SISEL.net /EVADYNE 96. That's my page, of course. But check it out either way. Today's topic is going to be on health, wealth, and wellness. I will now just open the floor a little bit and see if anyone has any questions or comments on what you've heard so far. And then I'm going to move into the part 2, the ABCs of finance. And this production is pre-recorded, and it was hosted by Keepin with Jashon on his podcast network. And it was because people were asking for more information on finances. Some of us know a little, some of us know a lot, but nobody knows it all. And the more we can share of what we know, the more we learn. Because if you're open while you're sharing, you're also receiving. So the floor is open. Any comments thus far? And good afternoon again, and welcome to Evadyne Talking. Okay, so again, with pencil and paper handy or another device to just record so you could go back and listen. You could also, within 2 hours after this show, you can go to my YouTube, which is like, share, subscribe, ring. Interesting, right? Yes, I know. And while you're there, like, share, subscribe, and ring by all means. But you can go to like, share, subscribe, ring.com, and you'll be able to see this complete video. And if you comment through it, you'll be able to hear yourself as well. Nothing like hearing yourself. Again, I'll open up to see if anyone has anything to say before I move into the ABCs of finance. Okay. I'll ask you, if you're not going to speak, to please mute yourself with your *6, and that will keep out any interference from coming in. And then when you're ready to speak, you can *6 again, and that will open you up to being able to be heard. So thank you very much for coming on. It's the first Monday, and I'm not sure if you all realize this, but on the first Monday of the month, I do Family First. And if someone is now asking, how are these things related to family? Well, whether you're a single person with extended family or a person that's under your roof family, when it comes to health and wellness, it's about family. When it comes to financial wellness, it's about family. So as today is Family First, we're sharing information, giving information that can help put your family and or your friends or maybe yourself on a track of learning something new and hopefully sharing with us something that you know that could be new to us as well. We're all in it together. So again, any questions or comments before I open the ABCs of finance? Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. 8 o'clock on the dot. I see we have both hosts and the kids will be with you on 1 second. I just wanted to say a couple of things. First, my name is Jashon. From Keepin It Real. This evening we have a very important podcast. It's a little different, but very important. Um, I'm looking forward to it, and we had a couple of people who was looking forward to it too. We have two very talented and experienced hosts. It's going to be giving you different points of view. I'm not going to talk much about what they're going to do because I'm going to let them do that. But I just want everybody to sit back, and if you got a pen and a piece of paper, just take notes, because for the next hour, you'll be getting a lot of informative information. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. I'm going to let them tell you what the show's going to be about. All I'm going to say is you'll sit back and relax and be prepared for a great show. To the two hosts, Ray's controlling the board, and if you hear the doorbell ring, you will know it's a caller. If you don't hear the doorbell ring, then it's no call yet. So once you hear the doorbell ring, if you hear the doorbell ring, you will know that's somebody that want to come in and speak to one or two of you. If you feel like you need a break, you just say, I need a break. And just, Dre playing with and little music or a commercial or something like that. I don't want to take up too much time because they want to know how I feel. They want to go right into it and bring the whole thing. Evadyne, you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I'm here. Hello. Okay, all right. Hello. Well, I'm not gonna. I just wanted to give a little introduction, but I'm gonna let you and Luke and the Evadyne take it away. Like I said, if you hear the doorbell ring, you got somebody who wanna you will go by and since this is the pilot, this is the pilot podcast, the first one, so everybody just bear with us. But ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Solution and the Roger Man, the agency of finance. That's good.
So,
Hello.
well,
Go ahead. Evadyne, go right ahead.
well, no, I was going to
How's
actually.
your day been, by the way?
Evadyne, say it again. My day is great. My day has been great. My week has been great. And I hope the same for everyone who's listening. How are you doing?
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. I just wanted to mention as a disclaimer at the top of the show that neither I, Evadyne Smith, nor Mr. Solution are registered security agents or brokers. We are here to share information, to receive information so that we can grow as a community and be better in the end. So we are here bringing what we have, and we hope that as you listen in, we'll hear the doorbell ring, or you can call, no, you can text 347-457-2769, or you can email teamfollowme@yahoo.com for this show or any of the future shows with your questions and with your comments so that we can bring answers and solution to this podcast. I like to thank Jashon with Keeping It Real and Andre in the back handling the technology for allowing this type of show come onto the platform, because when you have an audience, you want to give the audience all of what they need or all of what they need to share with others. So this is an extension, and I am grateful, and I thank you. Mr. Solution?
Yeah, I thank you. I just want to say this about Ms. Evadyne, and that is that, now she charges for her services, and I just thought of what a wonderful thing this is, a gift, that she is donating this. And I understand, and correct me if I don't get this correctly, is that you charge $50 an hour, 2 hours minimum. I think that's what I heard you say at our last discussion, correct?
That is correct, for consultation. Correct.
Right, consultation. I'm sorry. And so, so you guys, this is coming to you, and I hope you really benefit from it. I hope it's fun, and it should be made fun. You can get. I heard Jashon say a moment ago that you need pencil and paper, and that's a good idea. I highly recommend that. But you don't have to see it as anything laborious. Just take notes, things that interest you that you hear, so that you may refer back to it. Because this is a lifelong issue, and either you plan to deal with it or it overtakes you. So certainly we don't want the latter. We want the former. And so I think this should be a great start.
Thank you. So I am a licensed life insurance agent/broker, and that's life, health, and specified health. I can provide those services to you, anyone who's listening, in the areas and the states that I'm licensed in, or I have partners in all 52 states that can assist us with this. I'm also a registered tax preparer, income tax preparer, and that's for individuals, families, and corporate and business. So we are here to help you and to guide you in a direction that will not only benefit you, but that will benefit your family moving forward. Even if you have no children today, who knows, next year. You want to start putting in place good practices so that practice will make perfect. And what we want to think about is that we may see today as a cloudy day, though it was beautiful here in New York. But there are those days where it looks like life is coming down on you. You don't know where you're going to get your funds from to cover just your basics. Well, think about not having to think about that in the future and what you may need to do in order for that not to be a thought. But not again, just for you, for your family, for your heirs, for your friends. Well, it's not about selfishness at all. You will get information through this series, which I believe is going to run through September 25th on Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. You're going to receive information. I always call it food for thought, but as the food comes in and it's processed, it gets stored. You have no idea when you are going to be able to share with someone something that you've learned here or anywhere else. Food for thought. Keep that in mind. And definitely have your pen and paper available. Also, there's a rebroadcast. These shows are recorded. You could always come back on to Keeping It Real. I will actually put it up on my YouTube as well. So YouTube is Evadyne Smith. If you have the notice, you see how to spell my name, Evadyne Smith, 3986. I will put it up on YouTube. Make it accessible to you. We don't want secrets. If we wanted secrets, we wouldn't be here. We're here to share valuable information. Mr. Solution?
Yes. And I was just going to say just a little bit of background. I think you were giving some, and that's fine. Although this is oftentimes not here, but it should be a combative radio. Look, I'm a former military man, and I studied with the Army Corps of Engineers in electrical and mechanical engineering. I worked as a civilian for the Navy for a number of years on propulsion systems and non-destructive testing. I was going to say additionally, I also worked as a mediator, right, and dealing with complaints, in-house complaints, solving those complaints over a number of years, and really saving the company and individuals a lot of money and time. And additionally, I'm a successful investor. I like to say it that way. Zero debt, which is what I would like everyone to aspire to. And according to, I'll give you a couple of books or references. Robert Kiyosaki points out that if one is successful in 3 out of 5 investments, that's 60%, they are considered successful if they are profitable in 3 out of 5. So I've certainly done that. And I would like everybody to do that because I think when you conquer the financial system, the capitalistic system, we're happy. And stress is a major source of problems for people related to their finances. Stress will work in everything. That's what it does. So I'll just throw out a few topics. And see, you guys have a real treat in Miss Evadyne, in that she does all these different things. And taxation, for example, a couple of the subjects that I think are critical. Tax little bit. I just recently got a credit card statement, so I'm going to hit some high points on it. And I think it's interesting to actually understand credit, to navigate it. But anyway, credit, personal budget, retirement, which Gerber now is advancing the notion of getting retirement accounts for newborns. Of course, life insurance. And again, Ms. Evadyne is she sells insurance, and she is a fiduciary. And I vetted her just a little bit, with that. And I think that's crucial to any financial advisor that one, visits or consults, that they be a fiduciary. And that means that they look out for your interests and not theirs. And you might say, well, wouldn't that be the case always? No. A lot of financial advisors will sell you products and then go back and short it, right? So they're not working for you, they're working for themselves. So they're just taking your money, in other words. But she's not of that particular genre. She is a fiduciary. All right, life insurance, savings, investing, church finance and tithing, if you want to get into that, and also college funds for your children and how to finance those. So those are some subjects that maybe not all of them, and certainly I don't claim to be an expert in everything, and I'm not, although I do quite a bit, but I'd love to refer people to qualified people. I call those people my team members, my financial team members. So, I would just leave it at that, and we can tackle those topics, just get into them and tear them apart.
Thank you. I feel like starting with basic budgeting, just to review it,
Okay.
for individuals who may not be aware of the importance of having a basic budget. We know what we receive and we spend it out, and sometimes we spend out so much we have to wait until the next piece comes in. But if we prioritize, and I'm calling it like fixed expenses and then variable expenses. During the last couple of years, when everyone was locked in, money was coming in from different sources, whether it was unemployment or the jobs were still paying them, they were working remotely. The people, some realized how much money they were saving without commuting. They were home, they were working from home, getting the job done, but they weren't spending on car fare. They weren't spending on getting their hair done or their faces shaven. They weren't getting their manicures and pedicures, and they were kind of lenient on their extracurricular habits as well. And they should have saved or were able to save so much money just by not doing the things that we have been geared and branded to do as being important. So basic budgeting is important because you want to look at the true value of your ongoing income, the income that comes into you weekly, biweekly, or monthly. You want to look at that to see how it can best work for you, not just today, because when we talk about finances and investing, it's not about today. It's about your forever tomorrows. And again, those of your families or your friends. Sometimes we don't have children, but we have friends, and we have friends who have children. And if we have good hearts, we set them up in a certain kind of way. So the basics of budgeting is looking at your income and saying how much of this income needs to go to my fixed expenses. And that would be your household expenses, your rent, your utilities, and we can include your cell phone. It seems to be major today. So utilities, electricity, cell phone, gas if you have, then your food. Those are the majors: the roof over your head, the food you eat, and the lights that must stay on, and the communication devices. Okay, we got that. And then you look at your variables. So that would be the extra things that you want to get. And okay, I'm going to believe you already have clothing. And sometimes we need to look at that. Sometimes we might have the habit of shopping, whether it's for ourselves or our family, our children, but kind of, hmm, assess your closets and your dresser drawers to see how many of each item you actually have and how many of them you haven't used and may not use. And that will help to determine whether or not you need to buy more or share some. Just a clearing out of your space if you're looking to move yourself and motivate yourself in a direction that you want to go in. And I'm not saying give away your clothes. I'm not saying you don't need them. But when it comes to spending money, see if you need to spend more money on something that you may already have or something that you just want and that you don't have a real need for. Because now we're talking about putting away some savings, but more investment. And the difference between savings and investment is the rate of return. Correct, Mr. Solution?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're doing it. That's wonderful. Great information. Please continue.
So you want to look at thank you. You want to look at your income. You want to look at your fixed, remember, it's fixed expenses, and you want to list these. Come away from your device for a minute and list these things on paper. Sometimes we need to go back to our basics. Get a piece of paper, maybe a paper towel, but no, I know you have a piece of paper in the house. Get a blank piece of paper and you write your budget. And let's just do the budget for September. You're going to write out your income that you know is coming in based on everything remaining the same, your household fixed expenses. Now, some of your other fixed expenses, if you have children and they're in daycare or after school, they are fixed expenses as well. So family dynamics makes a difference. And then look at your variable expenses. And that's going to be, again, your appearance spending for your hair, for your nails. I believe people are spending close to, I'm going to say $200 every 2 or 3 months. And I know that's probably a low end, every 2 or 3 months for the appearance expenses. But just think about again those last 2 years. I am totally sorry for all the loss of life, but I am ever so grateful for the right in front of your face that shutdown gave us an opportunity to see what was right in front of your face, what you absolutely needed, who you were absolutely involved with, how you absolutely felt about yourself. There were so many absolutes in that shutdown that came up out of the ground. And so just refer back to that. Refer back to what you did without. And if you're referring back, that means you survived it. So if you're thinking about building for your future, I'm going to say sacrifice, consider sacrificing, but you're really not going to sacrifice because we know how to do the things that we're paying other people to do. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to shut down anybody's business. Just kind of taper, just taper your spending in certain areas. Okay, so then you're going to have savings. You need to have money that you can put your hands on in case of emergency. I remember back in the day, I'm so old right now, but I remember back in the day, there were, and they still probably have them, a lot of the credit unions would have vacation clubs and Christmas clubs and different clubs. And it was just where a piece of money would go into, out of your paycheck, a piece of money would go into those accounts so that at a specific time, of course, Christmas and December, you had that monies where you could go shopping and treat your loved ones very well. And then the vacation club allowed you, I guess it lasted for a year, that when it was vacation time, you had that money that you could spend on vacation. You can invest some of that money where it is still available to you to use when you need to use it, but it could be earning more and building more. Go ahead, Mr. Solution. Were you saying something?
Yeah, exactly. Look here, a couple of things. Now, the Fed has a 2% targeted inflation rate, 2%. And that's 2% per annum, as I understand it. And I never understood why we needed any inflation or why inflation was a goal to be achieved. Because, excuse me, inflation destroys one's purchasing power. And the thing is, I'll just quote Warren Buffett here. He says that only one person in a million understands inflation. Inflation is a hidden tax that steals your money. Now, as was just pointed out, we try and offset that with interest that we earn on our money. But I'm going to share a couple of tools with you. What I would encourage people to do is go to the Minneapolis Federal Reserve. It's the Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis. Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis. And why do I want you to go there? What I want you to do is I want you to actually understand money. We all deal with it, but very few people really understand money. And money is very necessary in a sophisticated commercial system. It's not like barter. It's the ultimate settlement of debt. And so what the Federal Reserve Bank does is they explain inflation. They go all the way back to 1913. And I'm looking at the website right now. If you, like I say, it's www.minneapolis.org. And what it does is it tells you how much money one would need in today's dollars to equal, say, dollars in the past. They start at 1913. They tell you what a dollar would purchase. A basket of goods. That's where we get to our food and fuel and all the things that we buy. And so even though we're earning more dollars, I think it was recently said the average worker hasn't gotten a raise in over like 40 years when adjusted for inflation. So a lot of people are hurting right now is what I'm saying. And we are over $1 trillion in personal debt. Many people are living off their credit cards. Robert Kiyosaki talks about, he says, savers are fools. And you have to be careful there because what he means is and I think there's a word too, he says cash is trash. I don't know if you guys have heard that. But what he's trying to get one to understand is that the system is rigged. The system is rigged. And so unless one understands the system, it's going to work its magic on you in the negative. So everything that's been said is phenomenal, is wonderful. But there's some underlining information that you're going to have to get to really help you. Two terms I like to use: be competitive. This is a competitive reality dealing with money. And you're going to have to negotiate really well. Now, I love saving money, and I buy in bulk. I buy everything in bulk. I never pay retail. I don't like retail. I like wholesale. So I buy my insurance, and you may say, well, how does one buy insurance wholesale? Well, you put down a larger deductible. If you have a choice between, say, a $250 deductible and a $500 or $1,500 deductible, you need to, and what I like to do is get the higher deductible. That means I hear someone chuckling, so go ahead.
No, that's right. Go ahead.
see, the higher deductible means that I'm taking on more risk, and therefore I pay a lower price. If I pay the minimum deductible, that means that the insurer is taking on most of the risk, so they're going to charge me more. And being a great negotiator, I love negotiating. I think I'm an excellent negotiator, and I like to teach people how to negotiate. First of all, one must be informed, know what you're getting. Cable companies, I think, are very thuggish. I think they run roughshod over people. Most of us like our cable. We have to get it. I think they're forming monopolies now, if not oligopolies. But the point is, you have to be able to deal with those people. And with your cable company, go to the customer retention. You know, when you renew your contract. They don't like to call it a contract, but really it is a contract. But, you know, you can get it at a lower rate. And, you know, if I'm buying cable, for example, I'll buy it for a year. I don't pay by the month, or 2 years. In other words, and going to what Dave Ramsey teaches, you do hard work. And Ms. Evadyne, I would like to get your notion on this. I heard Jashon last week, and I would like for him to chime in again. He was very honest. One thing he didn't say is what I suggested wouldn't work. He said that he wouldn't do it. At least now he wouldn't do it. And I recommended that working 60 to 80 hours a week. And if one is young and healthy, and I'm going to say if one is under 50, you're going to have to get the money, because when you go to a person like Ms. Evadyne to be counsel on your finances, you've got to bring her some money. I mean, she's going to ask you, what are we working with? At some juncture, he's going to ask you, what are we working with? And so you got to have the money there to, you know, you've heard the old adage, it takes money to make money. So I recommend that 60 to 80 hours a week for I'd say from 3 to 5 years. Now, one may be able to reach critical mass prior to then, but between 3 and 5 years, one would be completely out of debt, and one, I believe, will have reached cruising altitude. And realize in this financial situation, you can't do it by yourself. Now, at a certain point, I mean, you are the quarterback, but you're going to need the amount of money to pay off all your debt. And that means no one is coming to you for anything. I noticed with a lot of these discussions, they will show people getting these bills with past due notices. And maybe you've never got one of them, but you know people who have. So, but and truthfully, if you have gotten one, they're not nice, past due bills. And with this interest rate going up, a lot of people are going to lose their home because they got it at a low rate. And I think they call those balloon interest rates, where they balloon up.
Yes.
But they feel that the people could refinance, but maybe they can't. And so now people are going from like I think the 30-year fix now is 7%. But at any rate, the people who got the balloon interest rates that follow the stock market, they're going up. And from what I understand, a lot of people are going to lose their homes because now the monthly payment has tripled, and they can't handle that amount. Now, something that was mentioned earlier, financial advisors used to say to us, have between 3 and 6 months cash on reserve in a money market, in some sort of account where you can get it within, we usually consider it within 30 days is considered readily available if one can get a hands on their money within 30 days. So anyway, from 3 to 6 months, but now they tell us one needs a year's salary set aside for things like job loss, your transmission goes out, your refrigerator If you're living in your domicile, then if your roof leaks, you got to get that repaired. So having the funds available is going to be crucial. And I would say to many of you, if you don't care about this very much, transfer this information to your children and grandchildren. Mm-hmm. That is very, very important. Rick Edelman has a book called Squirrel Manifesto, and it's written for kids. Robert Kiyosaki has a book. In addition to Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he has a game that you can play with your children to teach them the concepts of money. It's better than Monopoly. The game is kind of expensive, so you may want to go in with someone or get it on eBay. But it's very important to, pass this information once you acquire it, to pass it on to your kids and grandkids, because it's going to be harder on them. I shared, let's see, I shared the debtclock.org, and I was just going to pull this up. Ms. Evadyne, you're familiar with the debtclock.org, correct?
Not with the website, no, but I do see it at Times Square.
Oh, well, wow, that's allowed. You guys, just speaking of debt, based on our national debt. Go ahead.
Hey, how's it going? Good evening, everybody. That's Joe. How's it going?
Oh, hey, how are you, sir?
Good evening.
And I'm doing good, man. Hey, I just wanted to chime in really quick, man, on what you guys have been talking about. Definitely great information, efficient information. And what I want to say is I think it's very, very, very critical and important for people to realize, understand the fundamentals of liability versus assets and being rich versus being wealthy. I feel like a lot of people don't know just the basic fundamentals of that. Even with buying a home, it's an expense and a liability versus an asset. I would consider myself more of a...
I'm sorry, nephew. Oh, you're fading out.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to repeat what I said. So I said the fundamentals. I think it's important that people understand the fundamentals and the basics when it comes to finances. Like I said, liabilities versus assets and the difference between being rich and wealthy. Me personally, I would consider myself more of a sophisticated investor based off my portfolios. But I think this is much needed, and people got to understand, one penny can make a difference in your lifetime investment. A lot of people, what I've learned in my time as far as I don't necessarily need a 401k to build my own retirement and create a generational wealth. There's things out there right now that's at an all-time high. You got TVs out there at a 5.71%. That's for short term, 9 months, 15 months, 6. There's so many safer ways if you want to be more or less a safe investor, to where you can build your money. The little pack of cigarettes that you find at the store for $5, or those getting snacks and all of that. All of that can be invested into something that, hell, you might have your own snack truck within the next 5 years, but you gotta plant a seed somewhere is what I'm trying to get. If you don't plant that financial seed, you're not gonna have no fruit from that tree. So that's how I like to look at it. That's all I wanted to add to it.
Thank you.
Very good, absolutely. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I was going to say, I'm saying thank you for that information, and that it is valuable. It was on the Ramsey show today. This young lady called in, and she was sad because she just inherited so much money from her dad, of course, he passed. And her fear was that she was going to run through it like water. She was going to run through it like water because she previously had, just run through money, not really understanding, not being educated on, no, not practicing the possible education that she had on money. Because sometimes we know, but we don't do. So I didn't want to say she was uneducated, but she was educated now enough that she called into that show to get advice. And he advised her to get whatever comes in, put it into a savings until she gets her emotions under control because loss is great. And then he's putting her into his program so that she could build accordingly. But people think that owning a home, I struggle with it because you have some people who will say owning a home is not an asset, it's a liability. But I look at it as a way of building wealth because as you're paying your mortgage, if you happen to have one, as you're paying your mortgage, you're depositing money. That's equity, that's building up. And it can benefit you in the end because I always recommend people who are seniors who own homes who are struggling and complaining about money because they're still paying a mortgage. I always recommend the reverse mortgage for them so that they can live happily ever after, as we were told we were supposed to do. But I also tell them to get a term policy for whatever monies they pull out of that house, if, and only if there's family members that you want to get the house back when you pass. But in the meantime, you have deposited. Go ahead.
Most people, I'm sorry, most people can tell you all day long how to spend it, but they can't tell you how to save it and invest it. And as far as the house is concerned, like I feel like a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people go out and get these 30-year fixes and take off more than what they do. They say, oh well, we're gonna give you $600,000 to go and buy a house. They're gonna find a way to spend that whole $600,000. So there's ways around that too. With a good financial planner, if you do want to go ahead and get you a $500,000 house, you don't have to go and get you a $500,000 house. You go out and get you a $300,000 house and kind of finesse and invest the rest. You know how to do it properly.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry, Mr. Solution.
Again, yeah, I was just going to say, now, I encourage everybody to go to the debt clock.
Mm-hmm.
Get familiar with it. And what I'm looking at right now is debt per citizen, excuse me. And it says the debt per citizen equals the U.S. national debt divided by number of U.S. citizens. So this means at birth, if you guys, this is tremendous when properly grasped. At birth, a U.S. citizen owes $97,590. And the debt per taxpayer is $253,686. Now, both of these are true. The one is lower for the debt per citizen because that's divided by the total population. And everybody doesn't pay taxes, obviously children and some people fall under the required minimum. But of taxpayers, their debt burden is $253,686. That's a lot of money to owe. See? And like I say again, just with this per citizen, that's a newborn baby. They come into the world, and a lot of people don't understand how this impacts them. And let me just say this, and I don't want to get too technical, is that the Fed is curing a problem that they created. Imagine that. They say they want to lower inflation, but who created inflation?
Mm-hmm.
They did. Mm-hmm. And so they are allegedly fixing a problem that they caused. So the point is, it's a bunch of poppycock. They're not trying to fix inflation. And it's going to hurt the average person. Let me give you another quick formula. And I encourage everybody to get a business or at least operate as a business. The way it's figured is that a business, they spend and then they're taxed on what's left over. That is, they deduct all their business expenses and then they're taxed on what's left over, meaning they pay a lower tax. Whereas the individual, all the tax burden is put on them. They're taxed first. They don't get a chance to deduct anything. And then they spend on what's left over. So the average person right now, when all taxes are calculated, they're working like 5 to 6 months out of the year just to pay taxes. You see, and that's where this debt per citizen comes in. And the average person can't get ahead just working one job. Now, I've worked up to 3 jobs. I don't have to do it again, but that's what I was saying about that 3 to 5 years. So the average person, if you're struggling right now, you've got to look within and find a way of generating more revenue because that's pretty much the only way one is going to get out of that. And I don't know if you guys could give some feedback. Now, I listen to it nationally, worldwide, and what have you, and it says that people are really struggling. Like I say, and student loans, I think they're coming due pretty soon. But with inflation, and they tell us that inflation is running at about 4 to 5%, somewhere along in there. But anyone who's been to the market lately knows that it's triple that. It's triple that. It's much more than that. So people are cutting back on their.
Hold on a second. Dre, let Mr. Solution finish what he has to say. You can let them in, but ask them to please wait at the door until he finishes his comment. Thank you.
Yeah, Roger, thank you. I'm going to say people are having to cut back and on their grocery purchases and what have you, because what the government is telling us is not true in terms of where inflation is. Inflation is now gobbling up a huge portion of our disposable capital. So, let's work on ways of improving your revenue enhancement ability, ways that you can increase your revenue. Thanks. Go ahead.
Thank you. Come in, please. Who's at the door? Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, we're here.
You hear me, right? This is Dr. Dan. How you doing? Let me ask a couple questions. I want to make some investments, and there's 3 different ways I'm considering. Either mutual funds, municipal bonds, or real estate. Which way do you think might be the best?
Go ahead, Ms. Evadyne.
So mutual funds are secure, they're safe, guaranteed, based on your entry point. The real estate, people are always going to need to live somewhere. Real estate, to me, is never a bad idea. Never a bad idea. And it's also transferable. And when I say that, if by some chance you decide you want to come out of real estate and you get it at a good deal, then you can sell it. So you can earn while you have it. And if you ever want to come out, you can sell it, and you're selling it at a most likely, hopefully, a profit at the same time. People are always going to need someplace to live. But real estate is not just about residential. If you want to go into real estate, you might want to go into REITs, real estate investment trust, and that would be like the big shopping malls, the shopping centers. That's what Warren Buffett has a lot. He actually has a mutual fund with REITs in it. So real estate could be residential or it could be commercial, but I personally like real estate. And the municipal bonds, if I'm not mistaken, are tax-free because you're helping the municipality maintain the roads, quote unquote, haha. But you're helping them maintain the roads. You're helping the municipality stay afloat. So the return on that, I believe, is tax-free. Mr. Solution?
Well, what I would tell him is to book an appointment with you. I will say this, though. Real estate is the most unique of all investments. It's not necessarily the most profitable, depending on how one purchases it, getting the proper price. They talk about location, location, location. So I would say is to book an appointment with the fiduciary. And to see that way, they can go over. This is like, let me just say it this way. This is almost like getting an operation. It is like getting an operation. I mean, they've got to look at your medical history and everything. And so that's what a bank does before they extend a loan to you. But I think what was said is good. You definitely sit down with the fiduciary, financial advisor, and let them look at the whole scope for me. Or study it so well that you know it and then run it by them. I mean either way, you want to get confirmation. But yeah, that's what I would have to say about that.
Nephew O, what do you think?
I already talked to a financial advisor, and he recommended the municipal bonds. He said because if you buy municipal bonds like in state, like he said, you're not paying state taxes. And he said they're really up now. He told me something like 8%. Now, my concern with real estate is I already have one house, and I am concerned with because of I'm 63. My age for the maintenance of the property, because you have to maintain the property. You just don't buy the house and take money. Sometimes you have to do repair work. When you have tenants in the house, you have to fix things. And sometimes you get tenants that don't pay their rent. You have to go back and forth to court. You have to pay, legal fees. I'm not going to necessarily live in the house because, like I said, I already have a house.
Right.
So it'll be more of an investment. That's why.
Have you considered a management agency?
From my experience, I have family members. From my experience, I have family members. One of my family members decided he owns multi real estate dwelling, and he told me that what happens is, now I haven't done it, but he said with the management agencies, you have to be very careful when you choose them, because what they do is, some of them, the ones that are not so honest, they will, first of all, they get like 10% of the rent that you collect. Then, it might get more than 10%, depending on what you agree to. Then, if there's any repairs, you have to repair, you have to pay for the repair. So he said what they do sometimes is they'll be in cahoots with contractors so that every time they schedule a repair, they get a kickback. That's what he was saying. So
let me just say this, if I may. Well, so what you're really saying is they have to be properly vetted, but they are viable in that a lot of people use them when the individual can't manage it themselves, like if it's out of state or if the person just doesn't have the time to manage it. It's just it's a consideration. It's a viable consideration, I would say.
And
I understand what you're saying.
I used to have bills. I used to have some bills, and it was I was renting out two apartments, 2 stores, and I had a guy that I hired to collect my rent, and he was renting out. He was finding tenants for me, but he was charging them 2 months rent to move in, but he was only giving me one. He was charging me one. He was giving me 1 month rent. He was putting one in his pocket, and he was only supposed to get like 10% or whatever. I caught him because the tenant told me, so I stopped using them. But like you said, you have to be very, very careful when you're using these individuals to collect your money and do repairs, but they will sometimes try to rip you off.
So I would say
with the mutual funds,
yes.
you put your money in there, and then you make what you make. You know.
Correct.
Well, let me say this just quickly. Warren Buffett, considered one of the most successful investors, maybe in U.S. history, but certainly up there. He buys and holds.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he does. He invests for the long term. He gets a good investment, does his due diligence, mm-hmm. and then he holds it. Mm-hmm. And there's something called dividend aristocrat. Miss Evadyne, are you familiar with that?
I am not. Continue.
Anyway, yeah, dividend aristocrats. Those are stocks that pay a dividend consistently for like 25 years. I think they pegged it anywhere from 25 to 30 years. They're called dividend aristocrats. I'm sorry, say again?
To my understanding, typically those are taxed.
Oh yeah, well, it just depends. I think mutual funds in a backdoor way are taxed also, because one has to include them in their total in their total amount. But I don't want to get into that. That's something that one has to discuss on a one-on-one basis with their fiduciary, right? But
I just saying with a financial planner, and he said the mutual funds, you don't pay state tax, but you still have to pay federal tax.
No, the municipal bond.
Right.
The municipal bond.
Yeah, the municipal bond.
Right. The mutual funds. The mutual funds, you do pay taxes on your earnings.
Yeah, on both. Yeah.
So there are options out there.
Withdraw, right?
Correct.
And see, some people need that dividend revenue. So I'm just, it was just something that I wanted to throw out there, because it is a consideration. Maybe they cost a little bit more, but I know they perform. And, one can reinvest the dividends to boost the overall earning capacity.
Like a drip, a direct reinvestment.
What are they called again?
The aristocrat.
Aristocrat. Was it mutual funds?
No, dividend.
What?
Dividend aristocrats, and it's all part of the S&P 500. Those are the products that are in that. The S&P 500.
Right.
Oh, so it's in the S&P 500.
Yes.
Yeah, mutual funds are just a collection of stocks.
Mm-hmm.
So dividend aristocrats are just considered. Some of the stocks that retirees, particularly, from what I understand, pursue.
Mm-hmm.
But dividend aristocrats.
Okay. Are we?
So I will take a break just for a minute to see if, because we're all in this together and we were sharing information on the ABCs of finance, but I would like to open up the floor to see if anyone has any questions, which would only be for me. I'm the only one present from that production. Or if you have any information regarding finances, investments, or real estate that you'd like to share with us now.
Yes, I have a question.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, this is Michael. I know through my whole life I've been going through where to put my money, how to invest, and the most important thing I learned is that you have to be educated on these outlets that you want to get into, like real estate, 401k. And at the time, I had a job that offered a 401k. And I'm like, okay, I started late. I did the maximum. And I always would check it like every week. And people say, oh, no, you shouldn't check it. You should just let it sit there because you check it, you're going to get worried and stuff. But I didn't get worried. I just wanted to see what was going on. So I noticed in my 401k I had an opportunity to switch it around from day to day. So it was almost like day trading. So I said, okay, the market went up today. So most people are kind of greedy, and they'll say, I'm going to let it go up to 20% or more. But I said to myself, well, I'm not going to be greedy. If I get 8%, within a week, I'm going to switch it around and put it into a safe fund. So I kept doing that for maybe about 10 years, and my money quadrupled. But everybody else at my job who was in the 401k, they said, my money went down. I lost money. And I said, you didn't really lose money unless you pull it out, but you have to kind of watch it and not be greedy. Like people say, I'm going to wait till it go up to $20 or $30. I'm like, well, yeah, you can do that if you want to, but I think there's a better way you can do it. So I learned a lot from that. And people at my job was like, well, can you monitor my money? I'm like, no, they have people that are paid to do that. That's what those funds do. They use your money, and they do the same thing. You don't watch it, so they're using your money, and they're making money off of your money. So, it's all about education, and you got to try somewhere. You got to read books. And I encourage people, if you can find an investment club, try to join an investment club. The best thing about an investment club is you learn from it. You might not like what they're investing in, but you can do something on the side and say, well, let me do something separate from them. Maybe I can do better than them. And, that's what I learned. You got to be educated. That's the first thing you got to do. Just pretend like you're investing and see what happens. You could just watch, okay, I'm going to put, let's say, imaginary $1,000. I'm going to put it in something. I'm going to see how it's going to do. What should I do? What happens? And that's how you learn. So to me, the most important thing is education. It's hard to just get in there and do it on your own. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
You're welcome. That was very good, or is, not was. Well, you said it before, so that's very good information you shared, Michael. And thank you for that. And so your strategy was to make sure that your base amount remained in place, but pulling out your profit and putting your profit into something less aggressive, more stable, and letting it grow, which is diversifying your portfolio. And you're right. It is about education. So for those listening, diversification means having many types. When you open your cupboard, how old am I? Where do I live? When you open your kitchen cabinet, you're going to have, I hope not, but you might have some canned goods. And so you might have green beans, and you might have brown beans, and you might have red beans, and you might have white beans. You have a diversified selection of beans. So diversification is just a variety, and when it comes to investment, you can have a diversified portfolio by having some things that might be a little aggressive, meaning more riskier, but if it wins, you're winning well. And then you may have stable products, right? You may have products that pay you dividends, and some products that may not. But what Michael has just explained, one, education is key. When someone asks, or others were asking him, well, can you handle mine? No, I don't want that responsibility, but my idea would be I can show you what to do. And so there's so much technology today that it allows us to share information. As long as you say, again, we're not financial series, what is it, 63 investment consultants. We're just sharing information that we've come across and directing you to where you can go and get more. And this production came about, the ABCs of Finance, when Mr. Solution and I were both on Keeping It Real with Jashon, which is a Friday night show with Jashon. And you can Google him, Brandy Jashon Jackson. If you search him on YouTube, he's an author. He has written movies, which are out. He has the podcast on Blog Talk on Friday nights, and it's an adult only. Do not make a mistake and bring a child. But it's speaking about a lot of things that adults want to speak about, not face-to-face per se. But we thank him for allowing this show to come on, because it was on his show that Mr. Solution was sharing a whole lot of great information. I mean, just dropping financial nuggets here and there. And him and this young lady, they were like going back and forth and back and forth. And in the conversation, he then agreed to co-host a financial show with me. And I was grateful, because his level of information, his experience and or expertise in the area of investing, I was grateful that we were going to have an opportunity to hear him outside of that show and on a more concentrated show. But it is about educating. And yes, you can join an investment club, being mindful of your goal in that investment club, and not putting all of your basket, all of your valuables in that basket. Along with diversifying your portfolio, if you choose to, you also want to maintain control of your money. So if you have an amount of money that you're willing to invest and you want the education of being part of an investment club, you invest a portion of your money with them, but take the education and invest a greater portion, I'm going to say, on your own. Because if you're coming together as a club and you're strategizing and people are bringing information and saying, okay, this stock is really good, okay, well, put your few coins into that club pot, and then as soon as you get in your car, you open up your app and you invest a few more of your own personal coins into that same club, right? But you're giving yourself not an edge. It's not really a competition, because you're not the only shareholders, but you just don't want all of your eggs to be in one basket. So you take advantage of all of that.
I just want to say also, when you do things like this, you start to see other things that you never saw before. Like, for example, when 9/11 happened, a lot of the company stocks were down, especially the airlines and stuff. It's like, went into the teens, and I was just so shocked. I'm like, wow, I should take my money and put it in the airlines. They're down $19, $15, some of the auto companies. And I wish I would have done that. I would have been very well today. But I started to see things like that just by joining a club, doing my 401k. So I'll tell people, say, you got to get in it so you can get educated. That's the only way you start to see deeply.
That's correct.
That's all I have to say. I'm sorry.
No, that's good. I'd like to hear from someone else if someone else has something to say, but I would also like to continue with the broadcast.
Hello, Evadyne.
Hello, Michael. How are you today?
I'm well. How about yourself?
We are all well here. The numbers are great. We're all well. Thank you.
Yeah, that is very good. Very good. I'm just sitting back. I got on a little bit late, so I'm just listening to the broadcast. So far, so good. And take it away.
Thank you very much. So we're going to go back to listening to the broadcast, and we'll ask you again to just make notes to get information that's going to help you. And this will be up on my YouTube at 6:30. This entire show will be up on the YouTube at 6:30.
And run it by them. I mean, either way, you want to get confirmation.
Second, I'm just moving it.
Miss Evadyne, are you familiar with that?
I am not.
Crack, was it mutual funds?
No, dividend.
What?
Dividend aristocrats, and it's all part of the S&P 500. Those are the products that are in that. The S&P 500.
Right.
Oh, so it's in S&P 500.
Yes.
Yeah, mutual funds are just a collection of stocks.
Mm-hmm.
So dividend aristocrats are just considered some of the stocks that retirees, particularly, from what I understand, pursue.
Mm-hmm.
But dividend aristocrats.
Okay.
So those will be mutual funds.
Well, it can be their stocks. Their stocks. And stocks, mutual funds are comprised of a basket of stocks.
Stocks as well.
Is that correct?
That is correct. That is correct. So I just want to anything else, Dr. James?
Yeah, I mean, I got more questions, but I let somebody else go. But I got a lot of questions.
I just wanted to
I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Good question.
Yeah, this is the last thing, and I want to address what I was going to say with the mutual funds. Isn't that typically tied in with the life policy, the life insurance policies as well?
It could be
like
the annuity. Well, term policies are not earning any cash value, but whole life policies, they do earn cash value because, yes, the insurance company is investing in a variety of things. And there's a life insurance that has annuity benefits as well, like the single pay annuity is a life policy, and the universal life, they're invested in the market. That's where the cash value comes from, which is not a bad thing. So
I just want to throw this out there. For a number of years, I've really come to love insurance companies.
Thank you. No, they. So what I say about life insurance and building wealth with life insurance are two different angles. Yes. The first angle is whoever your beneficiary is, they need to be sitting down listening to our story, because at the table, we need to have this discussion, because when that time comes, there's going to be a lump sum, like the young lady who called Dave Ramsey today. There's going to be a lump sum of money available. We need to make sure that our beneficiaries know exactly what to do with it. That's a term policy or a whole life. But a term policy is for a specific term. It does not earn cash value. Whole life and universal policies, they earn cash value, they earn dividends, a variety of things that can help. In some cases, it can help with retirement. If you have a policy and you've had that policy for 15, 20, 30 years, as we do at times, and it's time for you to retire, well, if you didn't get your apples and pears together and you do have debt, you could use that cash value to get rid of your debt, which will make your retirement much smoother with that income that you'll have for retirement income. The cash value, unless you have an increasing face value policy, that cash value will not be paid out to your beneficiary. Your face value will be paid out. So that cash is sitting there available to you. No one's going to get it. I say go get it and make the best of it. So that's either eliminating your debt if you're planning on retirement. It could be paying your child's college tuition, another college savings plan, right? Indirectly. It could pay off your mortgage. Again, finish paying off your mortgage so that you're retired with no mortgage payment anymore. And it could also be used, as you pull it out, to buy another retirement product for yourself. You can buy something with that lump sum of money that will add to your monthly income. which is not a bad thing either. So it's using, I call it other people's money, because you're not going to get it any other way unless you pull it out. I love insurance for that. And I say it's building wealth because, again, when that time comes and someone transitions, there's a lot of money being played with. And unless people know what to do with it, and we see this all the time when people win the lottery and then they're broke a year later, if you don't have that education, if you don't have those steps in place, or even just know where to get it because you happen to listen to something some years ago, and that food for thought is still stuck in your head, you will lose it. You will lose it. You will squander it away, and somebody else around the world will be happy because you squandered it with them. But it's very valuable. Some people think of life insurance, and I say, and promoting it, life insurance is not about death. It's about building wealth. It's about building wealth. But it's how we do it.
Let me give you a little addition to that. One of my philosophies is that one should become their own bank, and one should become their own insurance. I know that may be a little bit lofty. It's not out of range for those who. Go ahead.
Dr. James, can you mute yourself, please?
Yeah, you have to put me back on mute. I can't do it with this on.
Oh, okay. I don't.
Put me on mute.
Jashon.
I'm outside.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Solution, continue.
Yeah, thank you. No, I was just saying, I think the insurance can always be utilized, and it probably always will for most of us in a lot of instances. But what I encourage people to do is to think about self-insurance, self-banking. You heard the old adage that just the statement, when one goes into a bank, that banks only lend to those who don't need money. Well, we want banks to be safe. As I know that's kind of sketchy in our today's world because the banks are kind of on weak foundations. But we do want banks to have a margin of safety, a great margin of safety. We don't want them lending our money to people who won't pay it back. We want the money to be paid back. And so I think that people need to, just going to the Dave Ramsey, I knew about this before I heard of Dave Ramsey, but he's kind of a modern guy. But Think and Grow Rich, that's a phenomenal book to read regarding financial improvement. But I really think that one is doing it properly when they can self-insure. And now that doesn't mean that one doesn't use a bank. It just means that if you walk in there on an equal eyeball to eyeball with the banker knows what the deal is. And you're only going to deal with the bank if it's quid pro quo, if it's mutually beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way I deal with banks and insurance companies. It has to be mutually beneficial because I see us, for all intents and purposes, working at the same level. Does that make sense to you?
It does. It does, yes. It does.
And so that's but I want to share this. Now, again, I can't highly recommend this U.S. debt clock. I mean, when I go out on dates, and I was talking about two ladies that I took on a date, and we were kind of perusing this, just as a topic of discussion. But anyway, I'm looking at the interest on the debt, and it's GDD 369. 9 is billion, 12 is trillion. So we're paying 663 billion, 67 million, and you know how fast the 100,000 goes. But we're paying $663 billion on the interest on the debt, includes U.S. Treasury notes, and bonds, government account series, DAS, and other special purpose securities. I mean, we might as well give it up. We might as well throw in the towel. I don't know what you think. And you say you're not familiar with this, so please check
I'm looking
it out.
at it now.
We'll probably...
Yeah, it's U.S. debt. Yeah.
Wonderful, gracious.
USDebtClock.org.
A lot of professionals, I was introduced to this over a decade ago, and you just see these numbers here, and you see the number. I was sharing this with Jashon. If this was an individual balance sheet or income statement, they would be absolutely bankrupt. Because you see the U.S. federal debt to GDP, that's over in the left-hand corner where the U.S. national debt, and if you just come down and you see it highlighted in black where it says 1960, 1980,
oh, yes,
and now.
Yeah.
You see that?
I do. 119.
Okay, you want to excavate that number just a little bit?
119.13%.
I don't want to put...
Let's see.
If you see, we're 119.13 debt to GDP ratio. What does that mean in your economy?
Gross debt per
That's
person?
Right?
Yeah, it would be. It would be, and so everyone should take a look at that website and come to an understanding of it. It's USDebtClock.org. USDebtClock.org. I'm familiar with the clock because they have it at Times Square, and I just look to my left as or as I'm on the bus. I look to my left and just keep on going. But it gives us more reason to take responsibility for what we have and how we use it, how we save it, how we invest it. We want to be for ourselves and our families moving forward. I think this has been a great...
Share one other, and I would encourage you to bookmark this one too. And I just did it on $1. The Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis, because this gives one real motivation for why... I lost it. Good grief.
Charlie.
Oh, man. So this gives one motivation for... I lost my place. Let me redo it, reboot. But, okay, I recall what it said. And what it said was that $1 in 1913, I believe it calculated, it takes $30 to purchase the same as it did in 1913. So it's the same dollar, is the point that Warren Buffett was talking about most people don't understand. It's the same dollar, but it has lost its purchasing power. Oh, wait a minute. Here, I got it. Yeah. I think it's playing games with me. Okay. All right. And so it says, what is a dollar worth? And I just put in $1, 1913, right, is worth 30.79. It's $30.79. So it would take $30.79 of our today's dollars to... Now let's just go to 1960. Let's just use that for example. And let's just say $100. I'm just plugging this in. Okay, $100 in 1960. If you can do it faster, I'm fine with that. But I'll have it in 1 second. I think that's 50. Okay. $100, it actually did 1950. I was trying to do 1960. $1,264.33. And this shows you why the woman was kicked out of the house to have to work in the market, because they depreciated the money. And inflation is a hidden tax. And
Understood.
so, are you still there? Can you hear me?
No, yes, I can hear you. Yes, we're just going to wind down very shortly.
Okay.
So
all right. Well, I was just sharing that because I think it's crucial for people to know why they can't purchase, they can't buy anything. Now I got it for $160. I'm going to calculate. Okay, that's $1,028.86. Now $100, right? In 1960, one would have to have $1,028 and let's say $1,029 in today's dollars to buy the same thing that $100 did in 1960. So, isn't that wild?
It's amazing, and so just a little bit. That's probably why salaries go up, so that you can kind of only make ends meet. I believe, right? Make the ends meet only.
The average person hasn't received, adjusted for inflation, a wage increase in something like 40 years.
Oh no, I know
it's more than 40, but I'm just using.
Yeah, I know officially we're not making enough. I clearly feel that $20 an hour should be the federal minimum wage around the country, federal minimum wage, because that's only $800 a week. So we have a lot to talk about. I think this program is going to work very well. Again, disclaimer, neither of us are security brokers or agents, but we are here to share information, to receive information, to answer your questions. We will be here on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. So that show aired for 6 weeks on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Again, thanking Jashon with Keeping It Real, and you can find him on Blog Talk Radio, BLOGTALKRADIO, Blog Talk Radio, and his show platform is Keeping It Real with Jashon, and there's several different shows on there. We just happen to be on a Friday night show. That's how we came to collaborate on this one. But it was so interesting because it was also mentioned, similar to what Michael was doing. I had suggested with the whole life and the cash value that you build up in it. No one's going to get that unless you have an increasing face value life insurance policy. That cash value that's building up in there is going to go away when you transition. Your family will get your face value, but that cash value, no one will get it. So I suggest, no demand, to pull it out and put it to use for you while you're alive. Even if it's pulling it out and investing into something else, I had suggested a single pay annuity, depending on how much it is. Why? Because when we retire, in some cases, our income drops. But if you're retiring, let's say at the Social Security age, you have your Social Security check. If you happen to have a pension from your job, you can have your pension check. And if you were so fortunate as to have a lump sum of money come into your hands and you purchased another annuity product, now you have a third check. Whether you decide to take it or leave it and let it continue growing until you're ready to, take. And you can take out withdrawals either on a monthly basis, on a semi-annual basis, on an annual basis. But it would just give you that extra edge. And as I mentioned to this group of seniors one day, if you don't need it because your income coming in totally exceeds your need, that means you're probably never going to use that money personally yourself. Maybe you want to take the opportunity to set up your younger folks. Set them up with annuities, set them up with insurance policies. If you take a lump sum, and put it into a whole life policy or especially a universal, that lump sum is going to grow, 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 grow. So if that young person is young, by the time they turn 21, they could possibly be 100,000 if not millionaires. But when we do these things, when we make these choices, we don't want to keep it a secret. Because if we keep it a secret, then you're not teaching your heirs how to do what you've learned to do. So you want to sit them at the table just like other cultures do. Sit those young people at the table so they understand the process that you're going through. They're going to understand two things. They're going to understand the value of money and how money is made. Because if you're sitting them at the table just with your income, your weekly income or biweekly work income, and showing them the budgeting, as we talked about in the beginning, showing them how you budget that money, they're going to get and have a greater value of that money. Their allowance would be more understood why they're getting what they're getting and what they can do with it, which is spend some and save some. We're never too young to learn because in reality, that's where we start learning everything that we come to know from infancy. I'd like to open the floor, but first, remind you, we are here on Grown Folk Talk and Express Yourself Progressive Podcast Network. I am Evadyne. You are listening to Evadyne with Company, Talk Worth Listening to. You have been great company. I want to say that. If you're listening on my YouTube, which is like, share, subscribe, ring.com, please like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell. You may be listening on the Grown Folk Talk and Express Yourself YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe. Ring that bell. When you ring the bell, you get notification whenever new videos go on. Call in to 520-525-8633 24/7 to get the entire show lineup. The summer lineup is coming soon. New shows are being added. But just come in and listen in. I appreciate your quietness, but I also appreciate your participation. Very valuable. We are here together. I hope the talk that I bring is worth listening to. Please visit my website as well. I'm sorry, my G site. My G page is networkingforsuccess.info. Networkingforsuccess.info. And again, in the beginning, if you missed it, please go to Sissel, S as in Sam, ISEL.net/EVADYNE96. Check out the Sissel products. Following this show at 8 p.m. on Mondays is King David with Belief System. Your health is your wealth, and he brings a wealth of information. At 7 a.m. every morning, we have a prayer line. Come on board, listen in, ask for what you need. Whether you're with company or alone, ask for what you need and be deserving. That's one of the keys. 6 p.m. on Tuesdays, we have Grace Space with Jada. 7:30 p.m., we have the Pink Sofa Talk with Carol Lucia. Listen to the show lineup again, 520-525-8633. So now the floor is open. Any questions, comments, concerns? And please tell us if you have, as Michael shared, if you have investment experience that you'd like to share. The floor is open.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, this is Michael again. When are you going to start your investment club? Question mark.
Not necessarily a club. I will continue sharing information. I will continue sharing information. But Michael, please also, yes, tell us about your show.
Oh, okay. I have a show on the first and third Thursday of the month at 5 o'clock talking about health, everything health. And we all have health problems. I tell people we need to listen. We need to start a health group in our family, friends, relatives, so we can get our health together. We need to teach each other. You know, you might not know everything, and somebody else might know something a little more than you. So you need to share it as a group, especially as a family. We all know somebody is sick, and we need to. That's more than money. So I tell people that's something we have to do because we see so many people who are sick. It's because of simple stuff they need to do. Eat right, that's all. Rest. Drink water and other things. On my show I give out recipes and tell people how they can help themselves and help others. Let other people know about the show. Share. All you have to do is just dial in and listen. So simple. What's simpler than that? You don't have to go to a class. You don't have to leave your house. You're right at home. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. And Marcus, if you would like to share.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Can hear you,
okay.
yes.
Okay, great. I was trying to get myself off of mute. Yes, every third Friday here on the network, Grown Folk Talking, at 6 p.m. My show is Paradigm Shifts and deals with your perspective, your point of view, and seeing things from that different point of view and perspective just by making a small shift in the way we observe, the way we think, the way we interpret things that we see and things that we hear, and then how that plays a role in us developing as people, developing as a neighborhood, developing as a community, and how we can take that information and act on it and then move forward with it to actually achieve goals of betterment and generational wealth and even better health and also acquiring assets together. So tune in every third Friday here on the network at 6 p.m. That would be my show, Paradigm Shift, starting at 6 p.m. And thank you for the time, Evadyne. I appreciate it.
And you're welcome. And on every Friday, except the third Friday, so it's a co-hosted show. It's Can We Talk with Adrian. So the first, the second, the fourth, and if there's a fifth, you can come on and listen in to Adrian's show. And then on the third Friday, it's Marcus. And again, the first and third Thursdays is Michael, community. He's a raw food chef, actually. And he actually sells green tea, not green tea, wheatgrass. He sells wheatgrass, and it's shipped directly to you. It is frozen. It is quality wheatgrass, no fungus, and wheatgrass is valuable to building your blood and keeping your body healthy. If anyone else would like to share this show, again, we are on the Grown Folk Talking Network. I am Evadyne, this is Evadyne Company, and the Grown Folk Talking Network is hosting a wellness event on August 10th in Newark, New Jersey at the Salvation Army on August 9th. It's going to be a great opportunity to learn about life, healthy choices, to hear speakers, to taste good food, And it will all be vegan food, which means no meat product, no animal product, but very good food. We eat vegan food anyway when we eat our vegetables. So just listen in, continue coming on board, and I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening in, my brothers, my sisters, my friends, my extended family. This is Evadyne with Evadyne with Company, and I'm signing out. Thank you.